Alright then folks, so picking it back up again now after I have finished the encoding on a video that was running in the background, and my god was that a ball ache and a heartache, but that's a story for another time. It's all done now and it's happily uploading. So obviously in terms of the video, it's going to be a straight follow on, but this is actually taking place. This recording session now is the next day, so this episode has been split over 2 separate days. So if I repeat anything that I've mentioned previously, or if I end up going over old ground, I do apologise for that, and I will make every effort in the post-processing to remove anything like that, so it has a more seamless and natural flow, and you won't be able to tell that it is a 2-day recording session, even though I've just told you it is. So anyway, where were we? I believe we were either looking at having a passenger line to Gillingham up there, or bringing online this goods production factory just outside of Morley. Now if we just go back to Gillingham for a moment and discuss this, what I am predicting, just pick a word I can say, in Gillingham, is that we actually have Gillingham form a nexus or a hub of sorts. And if I just pause it quickly and I'll show you what I'm meaning by that, is Gillingham's location is actually rather central, and it would be a logical place to have a very large station with multiple platforms and tracks that feeds off into all the various cities around Gillingham. Obviously we'd have a port, what? No we wouldn't. We'd have a line to Bridport, that's right. So it starts sitting on the main line. However, we could have like side platforms, which head out to Boston and Stockton, because they are a little tucked away and they don't form a natural sort of chain with the rest of the cities. And then likewise, you could have one heading over the bridge that'll service places like Derby, Macclesfield, Ulverston, and if we wanted to, even Weybridge and Quinchurell Downs. Obviously Petersfield and Haywood, they would form a natural unbroken chain without looking too ridiculous. So those two could just be serviced by the main line itself. However, as I said, these ones over on the left here and the 2 cities to the right are probably best serviced through a connection or a shuttle service similar to the setup we have between Bridgewater and Stoke-on-Trent. Obviously that's proved very popular, so it does show it can be done. However, to begin with, we need to start with obviously connecting Gillingham into the main line itself, into the passenger network. So we'll go ahead and do that. So clearly I have made a decision as to what we're doing next, and it is linking Gillingham into our pre-existing network. So we'll unpause the game. So if we go ahead and put in our usual diamond setup just outside of the station for Bridport, as we know that allows access to all platforms, or the 2 platforms anyway. And then if we just run this passenger line, where's Gillingham? Okay, yes. I'm thinking we have this station perhaps up this way. There's very little room for it to sneak in along the riverbank. And if we had it this direction, running this way here, the lines would have to curve around quite severely, and it wouldn't have that natural feel to it. So what we'll do instead is we'll head up this sort of way towards the gap between Gillingham and Stockton, and have Gillingham's large station in this sort of area here. In fact, before I run that line out, it's probably advisable to go ahead and put this station down first, that way we know where we are. So to start off with, given what, we just talked about having sort of like a large Nexus hub style station for Gillingham, I think it's a good idea if we start off with a 4-track station with a large building. So if we put it, now I don't want to put it just there, because that's obviously going to cause issues with the lines running out and hitting the, or having to swerve around the sawmill we have there. So if we move it just a little bit further up the hill, obviously it does mean there's a large gap there between Gillingham and Gillingham's train station. but that's not the end of the world, and a decent tram system in Gillingham would offset that nicely. Plus it allows Gillingham plenty of room to expand and grow once we start servicing Gillingham with the required goods and get it hooked into the passenger network, so the destinations the citizens have also increases, which will obviously encourage further growth as well. So let's go ahead now. I'm just thinking here a little, what platform do we want the main line to run into? Now, I don't want it to run into these two, because the idea is these two would head off this way towards Stockton and Boston, and even potentially carry on down to Ripley, because they're on the right hand side from Gillingham as you look from Gillingham's perspective, and so are those cities, so that makes sense. So I think we will just go straight into what you'd consider the normal default platform, which is 1 and 2, the ones nearest the terminal building. So let's just run this down and connect it up, and that will be Gillingham then hooked into the network. However, we will need to provide some public transport infrastructure in Gillingham to enable the citizens of Gillingham to access the new train station, and for people who are disembarking to be able to head into the city and go about their daily business, their shopping, work, whatever it may be. Obviously we'll also need a diamond switch here, and while we've got the track tool open, we may as well just go ahead and fill in the signals for the line. That way we won't forget to do it because we've already done it. If I'm going to put him just on that side there, so the trains aren't going to be overhanging this road crossing here. Not that I think, no, it's not a major one, it's only servicing the iron mine, so it's not actually travelled at all. But I do have ideas for that later on, and I'll come upon that a bit later. Essentially, in just a quick précis and preview, the idea is there's a mod that I have installed which allows you to I think they call it People Magnet. So it basically provides a point where the AI citizens want to visit. So if you place one in and around an industry, then the people nearby will travel there and do whatever. You can class it as a commercial or industrial. So obviously we'd class it as industrial, and the idea being it would make it like a lived-in industry with people turning up to go to work. That also provides us the opportunity to lay in a public transport system such as a bus out to the iron mine, so almost like a works bus, so the people can get from Bridport or whatever city we do it in, we can do it in all of them and all the nearby industries for each city, but they can get from their homes, keep it at that, out to their place of work. It just makes the map a little bit more lived in and a bit more realistic. Okay, moving on. So Gillingham, you're already correctly named. So now that we've got the signals in place, we can concentrate on laying in some infrastructure in terms of roads and public transport, so that there's access available to the citizens of Gillingham to the new train station. Now I'm trying to get this level and flat so we don't have any ridiculous sort of how does that look? That's not ideal. It could be a little closer, so just it's a bit of trial and error this. There we go. That's what I want, so you don't have that little embankment outside of the station onto the road, which, while it doesn't impact anything, it just visually just looks a bit strange. Moving on, let's continue laying out our new electrified tram line, what's going to head into Gillingham. So we then need to get our upgrade tool, and we want to decide which route the tram line is going to take, and I think the ideal route is to run it around like this, and then we can bring it back up out this way, and then we can have another branch off point down to here. So if we just do that now, if we just get right onto this node here. Okay, it's electrified that little bit, which looks a bit strange, but could try and remove that a little bit later to make it look a bit more natural. So there we go. That's Gillingham's tram, and it's electrified tram as well. Tram line set in position. we need a tram depot, otherwise we can't get any vehicles out, and I think the best place to put that is going to be up here away from the city itself. Now, given that this could form, or I'm planning on it forming, something of a large hub, I'm going to go ahead and get a proper passenger station here. So it's going to look a bit strange because we're going to have tram tracks running in front of the station itself and then veering off into this passenger station here. But I can live with that if I just get it straight. Yeah, there we go. And I'll probably straight off the bat go ahead and extend it to increase the capacity, because I imagine this could be quite a busy little terminal. So let's just change its name from Gillingham to Gillingham Station Interchange, so we know exactly what it's doing. And then we want to add street access on the opposite side and then connect it into the road network we've just constructed. If we go straight, or as straight as we can, like that, and then because the two buildings are connected, the interchange and the station, the passengers can cross between the two and take the next line depending on where they're going. So let's now put in some stops. These will have to be modified, or at least have extras added in at a later point. But for now, if we just have a skeleton sort of system, just enough to give full coverage for Gillingham as it stands. However, as Gillingham grows, like I said, the chances are we're going to have to add some more in along this way, and perhaps even adjust the tram line to fill this area in, depending on which way the city grows. Right, so that's that done. So we can now actually set up the tram line itself, and we'll do the usual system of having both a clockwise and counterclockwise route, like that. That's perfect. And I'm going to actually set him to hit platform 4, the outermost platform at the interchange. So that's fine. So this is Metro 01 in Gillingham. Lovely, and we'll keep the colour. I never change the default, sorry, the mass transit colours. I only do it for the freight lines. Is that all of them? Yes, I believe it is. So they reflect the colour of the goods that they are. Why did I type colour? Don't know. Reflect the colour of the goods that the freight lines are assigned to. Let's have a look at that. Again, if we just put him onto the outermost platform like so, that'll do just nicely. So if we just find the line, Metro 1 and Metro 2 are both set up. So let's go ahead now and purchase ourselves a couple of trams. I think we're using the irons at the moment. And if we go for 8 for now, that'll put 4 per line, which should be enough. Obviously we can get more as needed later on. I'm just trying to find the correct colours. I believe it is, let me see, is it that one and that one? I think it is, yes. So that's for Metro line number 1, and that purplish sort of colour there is Metro line number 2. So they're assigned, they'll now file out of the depot, and we should start seeing some passenger generation on the stops within Gillingham. So that's done. So there is now Gillingham in the network, which means the intercity line can be modified to incorporate Gillingham. So we go from Coventry to Bridgewater to Morley to Bridgewater to Coventry to Bridport, and then after Bridport then we want to hit Gillingham. Why can't you do that? I'll come back to that in a moment, but then after Gillingham it's going to be coming back in to Bridport. Let's just see what the issue is here. Oh, I think it's a train getting confused. Let's have a look. Yes, it seems to be the case. So if we do the usual trick of telling him to switch directions, letting him build up a slight head of steam and take motion, and then reverse him back again, and that should have rectified the issue. Yes, it has. It's not returned. Okay, so Gillingham is now connected, and the train now runs to Gillingham this line name isn't really appropriate anymore, so I'm going to rename it to the Coventry Main Line. Because we've got that many cities now on the main line that it doesn't make sense to either include them all or just put Gillingham to Morley, because you then might start thinking, is that an express from Gillingham to Morley? Is it a stopping service? What is it? So just calling it the Coventry Main Line should alleviate that and make it, at least in my mind, it'll make it clear as to what's going on. Okay, as you can see here, this platform, or this bus stop I should say, on the number 2 service in Bridport is overwhelmed. That one isn't far behind. How many buses do we have here? We have 6. 5, good counting. Let's go ahead and add a couple more. We'll make it 8 in total. And hopefully that will be enough just to take the edge off and keep things flowing nicely. Okay, we have passenger pickup in Gillingham already, which is absolutely brilliant. If we just get down low and have a look, we can see we've got Felix Davis over here. Where are you heading to, sir? You're heading to the residential building over there. Okay, enjoy your journey, sir, and thank you for using the metro service that we've just provided for you. Let's just keep looking around. I want to see if we can spot one of the trams on their way, preferably in... Oh, here we go. Yes, I wanted a tram in a... How are they on the same line? That doesn't make sense. Is he going to switch? I don't know, but that shouldn't... They shouldn't be on the same side. Is the line messed up there? Let's have... No. So these are on the correct line. Oh, he might be going to a stop and then reversing his direction, even though you can't do that because there's no crossover, but we'll just overlook that. And then he'll be heading off onto his proper assigned route, which is the Metro 2. There we go. Don't they look lovely? Well, perhaps not lovely, but they do look interesting and unique, as I think I mentioned when we first unlocked them and had a look at them in a previous episode. Okay, do we have any passengers? We do. We have 8 heading into Gillingham. Now, whether they're going to disembark here or they're waiting for the turnaround to head back down, I don't know, but I imagine they're going to disembark and do their shopping or go to work in Gillingham. I've just noticed this line, or this road, sorry, connection between Bridport and Gillingham does have a fair few people on it. That says to me there is scope for this to become quite a busy and well utilised service, which will obviously result in less road traffic coming down here. We'll see how that goes in the not too distant future. As I mentioned, there is that little bit of inertia where you have to give it time to catch up and the route finding algorithms to update and factor in the new public transport that's been laid on. Okay, so we've got Gillingham connected in terms of passengers. Should we look now to perhaps providing one of the raw resources? No, it's not a raw resource, is it? It's a trade good, or we'll call it a demand. One of the items it demands, one of which is goods, which we have down to the south by Morley, as we discussed earlier. But we also have fuel. Now, we do have a fuel refinery not too far from Gillingham, which is ideal. We also have this oil refinery over just the other side, on this spit of land. Well, it's not a spit, it's quite a large bit of an island, really. Over the other side of the river, we'll stick to that, which could supply the refined oil. But we have a crude oil up there, but shipping it. Although, saying that, if we go from this one via cargo up to this one, again, via cargo ship, and then we can run down the river. It's a fairly long route, but it should be profitable. And then, given the location of this, we could have a harbour just outside. It'll be linked in already, so there's no need for delivery wagons to cover the short distance between the two. And then we can just have trucks which load up and then drop it off into Gillingham on a road connection. Maybe that's the next thing to do. Plus, that'll make it easier because we don't have to extend our freight line to cover all of these. What we got here? Our first electric metro tram. So let's just pause the game and we'll pick on Gillingham as it's quite nearby, and we'll have a look at these and do a comparison. So if what we got then, we've got the Ivan, 16 miles an hour, 30 kilowatts, 15 kilonewtons, 11 capacity with a 3 times loading speed bonus and 79 emissions. Obviously we've got a lot less emissions on this, which makes sense as there's no steam engine power in it. The loading speed is slower, the capacity is the same, slightly slower speed, and the tractive effort is a little better, but the power is the same. No, sorry, this is higher speed. Learn to read, thank you. Okay, I think it's worth going ahead and... could we afford to do all our metros at once? I think we could. So with that, Coventry, yes. Gillingham, yes. Morley, yes. That's all the metros we have, which totals 44 vehicles already. To replace them to the Stadsbarn Halle would... I believe that's how you pronounce that, I may be incorrect. Would cost 728,000. We've got more than enough to cover, so let's go ahead and do that. No electric path. That'll be Coventry, won't it, I think? I don't think Coventry... No, it's... Hang on. Where is the problem? I thought we'd electrify... Is it the... No, that's fine. Where did we not electrify? Is it that... It's that little bit there, I think. Let's... That should... Yes. That's already electrified, so that should have cleared that issue. However, we haven't actually... Have the other ones upgraded? Yes. The ones in Morley and Coventry have. It is just the Gillingham Metro, which wasn't updated. Well, some of them were. Well, I find that quite bizarre. Either way, let's just go ahead and... There we go. Oh, has it recoloured them correctly? You've got your little teal stripe there, which obviously identifies you. Let's find one on the opposite line. Anywhere, please. Anywhere, please. Where are you? There we go. Yes, you have your little purple stripe. So they have been coloured correctly. Okay, well that's going to help Coventry, Gillingham and Morley. We're going to have less emissions, less noise pollution, which obviously negatively impacts city growth. Also got a little bit faster speed, but I don't think that's going to make much difference really. Okay, so let's just head into Coventry and find a nice place to sit while we say our goodbyes, because I think this is now a decent spot to end the video. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you're enjoying the series so far. If you are, and I don't like to be that guy who is begging for likes and comments and subs, but since every other bugger on YouTube seems to do it, why not? But yeah, it would, you know, I would appreciate it if you left some feedback, good or bad, as long as it's constructive. I can take that. If you just think I'm a bit of a tit, that's fair enough, but probably keep it to yourself and I'll take it as read. Otherwise, yeah, let me know how you're finding this. It's quite a niche game, I think. And if there's any suggestions you have going forward as to where we can improve, or even, I'll dare say, if there's any other games you'd like to see a Let's Play series handled, I'm happy enough to do that and diversify. That's not a problem. So, all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you watching. It does mean a lot. Take care of yourselves, guys. Look after yourselves. And I shall see you all in the next episode. That's bye for now.